Hello and happy Saturday. Welcome to week 5 of the NFL season. This is Play Calling with Keenan, sponsored by Incede.ai. I'm with special guest, avid Rams fan, fantasy football expert, and least importantly, mortgage loan officer, Mr. James Westby. Welcome here. How we doing?
Doing great, Keenan. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
But before we get started, you know I'm a big fan of putting money where my mouth is, so you're going to make a $20 wager to see who scores more fantasy points this week in our league?
I would love to take $20 from you, James. Let's do it. You're on.
Let's do it.
With that being said, let's get going. Let's do this. Getting into week 5, James, let's first take a second and look back at week 4. What do we like about week 4 for your fantasy team? What do we not like?
Unfortunately, we were doing a lot of not liking last week for my fantasy football team. I think I only had one touchdown from a non-QB all week. Josh Jacobs didn't have a touchdown. Miles Sanders didn't have a touchdown. Robert Woods didn't have a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor didn't have a touchdown. It was rough. I lost.
It sounds like a lot of poverty, but fortunately, much like many governments, there's always a bailout on the way, and I think that you got a lot of good matchups this week. Are we coming back?
We're definitely coming back. I forgot. Clyde Edwards-Helaire also didn't have a touchdown. I think I sat Jonathan Taylor. I am rich. It's not poverty, in case you guys were like, how did he have so many good players? I'm going to win.
I think he may have fallen into the having too many options to play. When you go to buffet, you don't know what type of food you want. You end up just choosing all the wrong things. I think that might have been the case.
Well, they were all the wrong things.
Maybe there was food poisoning and everything.
There was food poisoning.
There's salmonella. Looking back at myself, I was pretty lucky this week. I was able to pull out a win by 1 point, mainly due to the fact of dark magic. So Calvin Ridley, I was going up against Calvin Ridley this week.
Is an understatement.
And as many of you fantasy football owners know, he had 0 catches for 0 yards. And it's not like he wasn't open. He just did not get the ball. Matt Ryan was playing the blind mice game and just throwing to everyone else but him.
Didn't he have a high snap count too?
High snap count. I want to say 70% of snap count. I resorted to not science, but dark magic for this one and used a Photoshop Falcons voodoo doll. It turned out working good. But yeah, let's start talking about the negatives. Here's the positives. I love the quarterback play of Josh Allen this year. Big fan of what he's doing. Big fan of Stephon Diggs. You know what? I think a lot of
the Bills, don't you?
I like the Bills. It's a cool name. I like Buffalo. Bills Mafia. I'm a big fan.
Big fan.
And, we like the Bills. Chiefs, once again, looking good over the Patriots. Good.
If we're talking about, quarterbacks we like, you got to be loving the Seahawks letting Russ cook this year.
Oh, hashtag let Russ cook. You're spot on. Even a Rams fan can acknowledge that the Hawks are cooking. They're cooking, and they're not just cooking 3 meals. They're eating about 4 or 5 meals. We'll get into how many meals I think they'll be eating through the air a little later in the podcast. But, week in review, I won, you lost, but we're on the way up. I think both of us are on the way up. Should be a good week. Let's see what we get.
Should be a good week.
All right, we look at the injury report, doctor's orders of the week. James, do we got any notable injuries this week?
Got a few notable injuries. Julio Jones hurt that hamstring again. We'll see.
Stays hobbled.
I don't think he practiced all week, so I think maybe a good chance he sits this one out. What do you think?
Julio, listen, the hamstring's been bothering him for this year, for last year, for the last few years. He's normally managed to still be a productive receiver on it. But, it always goes into question, especially with the Falcons bye week looming, I believe week 6. There's a lot of maybe an opportunity to sit him out here, let him get healthy. They're already 0-4, so at what point do you look at your season and say, is it worth risking someone out there with a hamstring injury? I don't know. I'm not the Falcons coach, Dan Quinn, and I don't think Dan Quinn will be there much longer. So we'll see what happens there.
Shout out the Falcons defense.
Just poverty. Looking at quarterbacks, I know this is not a Jets podcast by any means. We almost outlined the word Jet in general because they're so bad. But Sam Darnold is officially ruled out. Ravens fans, don't look now, but Joe Flacco will be starting this week under center.
Is this a playoff game?
I think this could be a playoff game for Joe. Oh, no, it's not. He's going to be absolutely.
So he's going to be terrible.
So playoff Joe, we'll have to wait until never to see that again because the Jets will not make the playoffs.
R.I.P. Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe will not be putting anyone in the dirt this week. My Hawks, something that hits close to home this week. The secondary and linebacker core and defense in general ravaged by injuries. Jamal Adams is out. Quentin Dunbar, questionable. Jordan Brooks, rookie, out. Bruce Irvin, out. Why I'm saying this is even in my Hawks fandom, I realize that we may be giving up some points this week to surprisingly potent Vikings offense.
I agree. I think, it may give you guys a chance to have some people show out who maybe are going to outplay some of your starters. Because that Hawks secondary has been pretty rough before injuries. Just want to make sure that that's out there. Before you make excuses for them this week.
This isn't an excuses podcast, so we like to recognize areas we can improve. But the Hawks are flawless. I think that we're 4-0, and we're a flawless team. With that being said, we could probably get a little healthier in the secondary. It'd help. And lastly, COVID update. This is new this week. 23 cases since September 24th for the Titans. Mike Vrabel, big football guy, but perhaps, wear your mask, kids. Wear your masks. I don't know what they need. They need something, but they might be in jeopardy. Miss another game this week. We have Tuesday night football, maybe. Are you tuning in for Tuesday night football?
Absolutely. Hopefully we get some Wednesday night and Thursday night and Friday night football too.
Roger Goodell, 7 days a week here. 7 days a week football. We condone it.
It's a great year to test this theory out.
It is. And closing out the segment, the bye weeks of the week, we have the Packers. And, who won't be losing this week is the Lions. They will not be playing, therefore will not be losing. And the Jets and Giants are on a bye every week, so make sure to not have any players there. James, getting into the rookie recap, I have 2 words. Go Tigers. Who do we like? Who do we like for the Tigers? Former Tigers, I should say.
Looks like Joe Burrow's leading all rookie quarterbacks in probably most stats. What about receivers? What's going there?
And receivers, his old JJ, Justin Jefferson, is absolutely cooking for the previously mentioned Vikings. He is actually 9th in receiving yards of all receivers, leading rookies. And, James has his boy Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
CHE, right?
CHE, CTE, CEH, all very easy acronyms get mixed up.
Clyde's actually 7th in all running backs and rushing yards, so doing well, but I think he's left a lot of opportunities on the table. And the Chiefs offense, I think they're going to start running more. The
good thing about CEH, not CHE, is there's opportunities always knock when you got Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback. That's right. I love CEH this week. 7th leading rusher, and fun fact, only SEC running back to ever rush for over 1,000 yards and receive for over 500. Rookie rankings are absolutely dominated by the SEC LSU Tigers. Go Tigers. Now we will get into Mortal Lock of the Week. I'm going to start this one off because that's how confident I am. Number 6. That's the amount of touchdowns there's going to be in the Hawks and Vikings game Sunday night. 6 passing touchdowns, not any touchdowns, 6 passing touchdowns. You got an outstanding Seahawks passing game. Russell Wilson has been cooking. And you got the Vikings, Kirk Cousins. I like it. I like what he's doing there. I don't like him, but I like the Vikings pass offense. Justin Jefferson, great. Thielen, great. Dalvin Cook out of the backfield and the devastated Hawks secondary. I love the Hawks and the Vikings line for 6 total pass touchdowns. James, what's your lock of the week?
I like it. I do. I think that's a good mortal lock. For me, you better get good odds on this one, but I really think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to lead all fantasy running backs in PPR scoring this week.
CEH number 1.
Hasn't scored a touchdown since week 1. People may be feeling a little down on him so far. He's going to come back in a big way this week.
He's also playing the Raiders defense, which has allowed the most opposing points to fantasy running backs. That's a stat you want to buy in. I love the mortal lock. I sign off. Lock it down. Go Hawks.
Go Rams.
All right, James, let's break it down. Who do we love for quarterbacks this week?
This week, I love Big Ben Roethlisberger. Can we pull him up on Watson, please?
We sure can. Let's see what Watson has to say.
Look at that. All right, so he's got an 8% chance to bust, almost double that chance to boom. He's coming off of the COVID bye. His elbow should be feeling great. We got a matchup that I really like against the Philadelphia Eagles. They just haven't been playing very well, and the Steelers, I think, have a really good shot to come out and put the pedal to the metal. And I think Big Ben probably 3 touchdowns at least, 300 yards. Book it.
3 touchdowns, 300 yards. The COVID bye, I love that. You know what, James? I got to say I agree with you. I love the Steelers versus the pitiful Eagles this week. I think they honestly should open up their camp for tryouts. Maybe an Invincible 2 movie in the weeks. I don't know. I would love to see that.
Would you sign up?
I would sign up. I think I could probably kick a field goal from 32 yards, unlike every Bears kicker out there. So, maybe it's worth a shot. But, James, I love Big Ben, but, I'm more of a Teddy Bridgewater guy myself this week. And, also Teddy Bridgewater guy, Watson loves him. 24% chance to boom this week. He's projected at 17.4. I picked him up in my 2-quarterback league. I think he's got just a Jameis-worthy feast of a matchup versus the Falcons, allowing the most points to fantasy quarterbacks this week.
Wait, so you're recommending to all our listeners out there Teddy Bridgewater, who has a 19% chance to bust?
I am, James. I am personally taking nearly the 0.25% chance that he booms. I would rather boom than bust any day of the week.
I do like that matchup with that. I mean, the Falcons, they're atrocious.
The Falcons, their defense, honestly, I don't think they could guard a winter breeze. I don't like them at all. If you're a Falcons fan, I'm seriously sorry. I want to take this. Thoughts and prayers. But not a fan of the Falcons defense. Speaking about things we're not a fan of, what's a quarterback you don't like, James?
Ooh, this week, Carson Wentz has a brutal matchup.
Let's pull it up.
I hate to be picking on the Eagles so much, but oh my goodness, same game. I love Big Ben. Carson Wentz is going to struggle. So we have is this Carson Wentz right now?
This is Carson Wentz right here.
All right. 6% chance to bust. Watson, I don't know what you're talking about right now. They're playing the Steelers who, man, do we have another stat that we can show about?
We sure do. I think according to PFF, the Steelers are getting some of the best pass rush in the entire league, as they are getting we got Bud Dupree, Tuitt, and as well as TJ Watt are all getting tremendous pressure on the quarterback, as they've all forced over 2 pressure in 2 seconds or less. They've forced a lot of pressure. The Steelers got a great defense.
How's that Eagles offensive line looking?
Let me check. What jerseys they wear? The Eagles jerseys?
I think they're green and
yeah, they're horrible. They suck. Invincible 2, check theaters this summer. It might be out.
So, bottom line, not a big fan of Carson Wentz this week. He's been struggling to this point, and I think it's only going to get worse this week.
James, you know what else it's going to get worse for before it gets better? Derek Carr, the second best Carr brother playing in the NFL in the last 20 years. Derek Carr, not a fan. He's facing a Chiefs defense, which is giving up the 5th fewest fantasy points. You got Tyrann Mathieu roaming in the backfield. And ultimately, a fun fact, the Chiefs dominate the Raiders. They dominate the Raiders. They've won 5 straight games dating back to 2017. I don't think that's going to change. I think much like the Hawks and Vikings combined touchdown passes this week, it's going to be 6 straight wins for the Chiefs over the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. I don't like Derek Carr. No offense, Raider Nation. All right, James, I'm going to kick this one off here because that's how confident in my man Kareem Hunt.
Bold take alert.
Ooh, bold take alert for possible RB1 rest of the way. Do you know why, James? Because I think that's opportunity knocking on the door.
Knocking.
Nick Chubb on the IR. I love Kareem Hunt. Let's just take a look at what Watson thinks about Kareem Hunt, because I think Watson may be agreeing with me.
Let's see here.
We got a 17% chance to boom this week, 25.2. I think it's going to be over that. I love it. You got a tough matchup, I'm not going to lie. The Colts are a very formidable defense this year. They got DeForest Buckner to trade in the offseason to the Niners.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter at all. He's going to dominate the Colts. I love him this week. He's boomed 2 of the 4 games they played this year. Let's look at the probability chart. And that was as a backup to Nick Chubb. Now he's just getting starter reps. I think it's only up from here.
I think even rest of the season, or at least the next 6 weeks as Nick Chubb is out, that I think Kareem Hunt could be the best fantasy running back in the league.
I don't think that's that outlandish to say, honestly. I think that he's got some very good offensive line. Kevin Stefanski's really reemphasized their offensive attack. They're a run-first team now. They use the play action as a weapon. And I think that, the opportunity's going to stay knocking for him. I love it.
All right. Well, for me, running back I love is David Johnson.
James, this is the David Johnson that was traded for DeAndre Hopkins. This is that same David Johnson.
That is the same David Johnson. And by your logic, he must be more valuable to that Texans offense than DeAndre Hopkins.
I think Bill O'Brien thought so, and it's worked out really well for him. So I think that's Yeah, that's great.
Shout out, Bob. So if we look at David Johnson, Watson says he's a 21% chance to boom, which would put him over 21.3 fantasy points, and only a 7% chance to bust. Watson loves him.
Listen, James, I'm not a mathematician. That's 3 times as high, though. I mean, the numbers are set up. It's simple math.
And I think it makes sense.
It's a great start.
I totally agree with Watson here because, I mean, they're playing a Swiss cheese Jacksonville defense right now who just got torched by Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon was
a struggling Bengals offense.
41 fantasy points and half-point PPR last week. The Dolphins, that's right, the Miami Dolphins absolutely torched them. I don't see it getting better before it gets worse for the Jacksonville run defense. I totally agree with you.
All right. Who do you hate this week?
James, I am not a fan of the previously mentioned Joe Mixon. You know, I do not like Joe Mixon. He's playing a very tough Ravens defense. The Ravens are most likely to come out, get to a big lead this week. Let's see what Watson has to say about our boy Joe Mixon. Listen, Watson totally disagrees with me. They totally disagree with me. They think that Joe Mixon's off for a very good chance to boom, almost a 25% chance. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. I'm going no science on this one, no math, all big name. Not a fan of Joe Mixon. He's playing a Ravens run defense, giving up the 7th fewest fantasy points this year. I don't like it.
Keenan, that's fair. In fact, you actually stole my pick.
Oh, that was your pick.
But you know what? I have a backup pick lined up for you. I'm going to go with my guy, actually. A guy I love this year, Miles Sanders.
James, I know that has to hit close to home. We actually have a bet that Miles Sanders will not finish in the top 10 for running back fantasy rankings. Currently, I'm winning that one. So you're betting against yourself, James. That's what you're saying. Betting against yourself.
This 1 week, I think he's going to have a great rest of the season. I think the Eagles offense will hopefully wake up eventually, but not this week. Like I said earlier against the Steelers defense, I'm sticking with that same vein of thought. And I think really tough D. I think Eagles offense continues to struggle this week. And even though I love Miles Sanders, you can't score too many fantasy points if your offense can't move the ball.
You know, I think Miles Sanders is a very talented athlete, maybe the second best Penn State running back in the NFL right now. And you know what? He's been very middle of the road. He hasn't been good or bad. He hasn't boomed or busted any games. He's been right about projections. So really, Miles Sanders, I don't think you're getting a lot of upside or necessarily downside.
Watson doesn't hate him though, so I think we're almost both disagreeing with Watson a little bit on our running backs this week.
Yeah, you know what? I just don't like Miles Sanders. I got to say, I agree with you. I'm just not a fan.
All right, fair enough.
Not a fan. James, who do we like catching the ball this week? Who do we got?
Man, I am really on this Steelers-Eagles game this week.
There's been a lot of attention to this podcast this week.
I know, but I just love this matchup for the Steelers. I'm saying Deontay Johnson is going to have a huge week.
Let's pull up what we think.
In the first 2 weeks this season, Deontay Johnson had 23 targets. 23 targets. That's an insane workload. He obviously got a concussion in the third game. Then there was a COVID bye. He's cleared concussion protocol, ready to come back. I think the best cornerback said they're shadowing Juju Smith-Schuster this week, yeah?
Darius Slay is shadowing Juju Smith-Schuster, which opens up a lot of opportunities for Deontay Johnson. He's really, like you said, when he's been on the field, he's been really productive. His one bust week was attributed to his concussion. He's been 1 week, and he's hit projections. So we stay leaning towards the Eagles and Steelers game here, but I think it's a great pick. I like it.
Yeah, Watson seems to be middle of the road, pretty much equal chance to boom and bust. But I think Watson is maybe a little wrong on that bust category because, like I said, that 10 and 13 targets those first couple games, it's hard to bust when you're getting 13 targets.
You know, like we say, James, opportunity knocking for Deontay Johnson, and I think he's going to answer the door. I think he really is. You know who I like, James?
Who do you like, Ian?
I don't want this podcast to become an LSU Tiger thing, but go Tigers again. I love Justin Jefferson against my own Seahawks depleted secondary. He's been absolutely great. He's the leading rookie receiver, and he's just torching all the defenses he plays. Is it a byproduct of playing across from Adam Thielen? Perhaps. But I am really smashing the over on Justin Jefferson. Let's see what Watson thinks about my man. Listen, Watson loves him. He's got over a 2 times higher chance to boom than bust. 12.6 full-point PPR projections. The Hawks are down Jamal Adams, Quandre Diggs, possibly Jordan Brooks, and Bruce Irvin. My Hawks defense is going to be crying for bodies out there, and I think Justin Jefferson will take advantage. Once again, touchdowns through the air. Vikings and Seahawks, they're going to air it out. Justin Jefferson's getting 1 touchdown, almost a more lock money back guarantee.
I like it. But if you like Justin Jefferson, who do you not like?
Boy, James, this is going to hurt. I'm triple fading the Bengals this week. Triple fade on the Bengals. I don't like T. Higgins. I don't like A.J. Green. And I don't like T. Boyd either. Listen, I have some Ravens fans as friends. They're going to absolutely love when they hear this. I think the Ravens are going to absolutely lock up the Bengals wide receivers. Marlon Humphreys, Marcus Peters, pretty lethal pass rush. Joe Burrow's my guy. Once again, almost a Tigers podcast. I got to say, it's not looking for my boy Joey B. Tough matchup this week. I'm triple fading the Bengals receivers.
I think that's reasonable. But those Bengals receivers haven't been doing that much this year anyways, Keenan. So I'm going with the guy who produced last week.
Okay.
Terry McLaurin. He had a pretty big game, no touchdowns, but he had over 100 receptions, I think over 100 receiving yards and over 10 receptions. But honestly, that Rams defense looks really good. Not biased.
Homer alert here. Okay,
but
Homer Simpson.
I think there's a good chance Jalen Ramsey's on him for a good portion of the game. I think, the Rams held the Giants to 9 points, no touchdowns last week. I think they could have a chance to hold another team no touchdowns against this week. And so I think Scary Terry might have a little bit of a rough week this week.
And look, James, I totally agree. And there's also a new quarterback in Washington this week.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Kyle
Allen starting at quarterback this week. Do they have a good rapport, you think?
Listen, his name's Kyle Allen. I don't like Kyle Allen at all. He's playing against the real AD. We're not talking Anthony Davis. We're talking Aaron Donald, the best pass rusher in the league. Possibly the best player in the NFL. I don't know. Not a Rams fan.
MVP of the league.
Okay, that's a Rams fan. Ignore that. I'm not a fan of the MVP of the league, AD, but I am a fan of him getting at least 2 sacks on Kyle Allen.
I like it.
James, what's the quarterback's name? Kyle Allen?
Kyle Allen.
Don't like Kyle Allen at all. Not a fan. Time to take a flex break here. Oh, who do we like this week? Flexing it out. Who do we got? What are we thinking?
I'm not very good at flexing, Keenan, but, for this week, I like Devontae Freeman as a flex.
Let's pull up our boy Devontae.
He got signed with the Giants after Saquon went down. He's been learning the playbook. He had a solid week last week. The Giants looked really rough on offense, but Devontae Freeman kind of looked like the bright spot that last week. And so I think this week going up against a little bit of an easier matchup with the Dallas Cowboys, I think he can have a pretty big week. So Watson, he thinks it's a little risky play, 23% chance boom, 18% chance bust. I'm betting on the boom this week.
Listen, I think that's a great idea. The Cowboys defense can't stop anyone. They can't stop themselves. They've got negative points in 2 of the 4 weeks, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Maybe even 3. They suck. They suck. I love the Giants, in particular on offense, having a possible rebound week. Upset alert. I didn't see it first. Devontae Freeman loved that. Well, James, we're flexing with my guy. What's that bear doing, Mr. Robbie Anderson? Listen. The Falcons are going to need Sir Purr out there to stop Robbie Anderson. He's going to absolutely torch that defense. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan of Robbie Anderson and his hatred of mascots. I'm also saying that because he is just a statistical good play here. Watson absolutely loves him. 25% chance to boom over 25.5 points. Given pretty good chance to bust. But, James, I'm a gambling man, and I'm leaning on the over. I love the boom on Robbie Anderson this week.
Versus the over, huh?
I'm smashing the over. Where's the over bet? I need one. Don't have one. Love the over here. I love Robbie Anderson. The Falcons defense is allowing the most points to fantasy wide receivers. I absolutely love Robbie Anderson. I still don't know what that bear is doing, but we love Robbie Anderson.
Love it.
Wild card of the week. What do we got, James?
Okay, I'm going to go back to my Homer roots, but I got good reasons.
Here we go.
As a wild card, we don't know what's happening in that Rams backfield. After 2 weeks ago, we thought maybe Darrell Henderson had the backfield all locked up. Last week, it was Malcolm Brown. Guess who's coming back this week, Keenan? Cam Akers.
Cam Akers.
What does Watson say about Cam Akers?
Let's pull up Cam Akers. Fun fact, we are playing in a fantasy football league where someone spent $60 on – who was that $60 spent on?
Oh, I bet it was Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown, possibly the worst waiver wire move I have ever seen. No stats behind that.
We have a $100 fab budget, by the way. So Cam Akers coming back from injury. The week that he went down, he was looking really good in that first drive. And so I think they're probably going to try to get him the rock. And I think he's a talented running back. The Rams running attack has been great this year. Watson says we got a 22% chance to boom. I know that Rams backfield is super uncertain, but that's why it's the wild card of the week. I'm saying Cam Akers leads the backfield this week.
Listen, that's a dice roll. I love it. My dice roll of the week has got to be, we're going back to the Falcons and Panthers game. I got Russell Gage as my wild card of the week, James. I love Russell Gage for a couple of reasons. First of all, Julio's hamstring. It's a little tight.
It's tight, man.
And, you know, as I was a beneficiary of luck and dark magic this last week with my voodoo doll hex on Calvin Ridley.
Is he a little worried this week after getting –
I think he might be trying to at me on Twitter. I don't know. He might be looking for me. But regardless, I'm fading the – I don't like Calvin Ridley. We have beef. I like Russell Gage. Love Russell Gage this week. And let's pull some stats to back that up, James.
All right, let's do it.
24% chance to boom this week as opposed to just a 14% chance to bust. Once again, Panthers and Falcons, I'm not sure what the over-under is. Smash the over regardless. I love the line. A lot of points, a lot of offense. And, you know, just got a lot of great receivers between Robbie Anderson and Russell Gage. Julio's if he's healthy. No disrespect to Calvin Ridley. He's also pretty good.
Game.
It could be a pretty high-scoring game.
Shootout.
You know, but this is, it's not the most wild thing I've said, but, third best receiver on a team being the wild card of the week, that could be, pretty wild to me.
I like it.
I love it. I want some more of it. All right, James, you made it known to me that you have a suggestion of the week. I thought it was a great idea. Let's enlighten everyone. What do we think?
You know, one thing, I love the boom bust that ESPN and Watson have going, but why can't we filter by that boom bust? I want to know who's booming, who's busting every single week, and I have to go in and search and check each player. I'd rather say, hey, who's going to be booming this week and get some good insight from Watson.
I love that. I think that'd be a great feature to have on the ESPN platform. Really all type of fantasy platforms. You'll be able to look at who's going to boom, who's going to bust, and be able to say, who's the riskiest players, maybe the most risk-averse players, and the players the biggest opportunity to score points, which is all comes down to. I think that's a great idea. Let us know what you think. I'd really love to see that be a feature in ESPN going forward.
Let's change the world of fantasy.
I love it. All right, James, we've talked a lot about fantasy football and Watson. Now I want to shift the focus towards your workplace and how you think AI could help, hurt, make your life easier, harder. What are your thoughts on AI in the workplace?
Yeah. Part of me's a little scared.
Right.
Automation is a big word these days. It's been talked about in a lot of the election process so far. Shout out Andrew Yang. But so is my job automatable? Possibly. Do I get a little worried if we go too far in that direction that AI Watson could boot me from the workplace? I don't know. So, but I do think AI can help me a lot in the meantime. Right. One of the big things in the mortgage industry that clients want to know more about is interest rates. Everyone wants to know, are they going up? Are they going down?
Right.
And in reality, while there's a lot of things I can look at to get a general idea, I always tell my clients, I don't have a crystal ball. In the next 2-3 weeks, in the next month, do I know what rates are going to do? No. Can I guess? No. Yeah, I can guess, but I don't know for sure. And so can AI predictively say if rates are going to go up or down? If eventually it can do that, that is something that can really change a lot of borrowers' lives,
Right.
I don't know if it changes their lives, but at least changes their pocketbooks.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, like you said, there's no one-size-fits-all crystal ball necessarily. But if you, even look at fantasy football, of how Watson is able to look at tweets, you're able to look at social media mentions, doctor records, all that, and tying that into the, the loan rates or interest rates, how that could factor in the political campaign, that could factor in the outcome of that. That's going to factor into interest rates, the economy.
What's the Fed funds doing? What is the 10-year note doing? It can look at a lot of different factors that I don't have the time to be completely up on. I can look at what is it doing is in the market, but I don't know all the reasons behind all of that. So that could help me out a lot. And Another way it can help my industry a lot is because we need leads. We need to know when people are interested in buying a house. And so can AI predict if someone is ready to buy a new house or to refinance their mortgage?
Yeah.
And if they can, then maybe there's a way that they could let me know when someone needs my help, and then I can give them a call and talk to them.
I think that's a great point, is being able to identify prospect customers and clients, and as a customer, being able to find the person who could rightfully help you out with your finance needs, so you'll be able to refinance your loans. And I think it could go both ways for both the client and also someone like Mr. James Westby over here.
Absolutely.
I think being able to discern through lists and help you ultimately save time as a customer and a provider. So yeah, I think it's a great point.